Maybe someday. Someday, I suppose. To quote the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. The Bitey Bitey Moss Tones. They're like the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, but they're all moss.
I got the joke. I did.
Sorry, I'm stopping right now because I'm like, in order to concentrate, I'm mindlessly playing Destiny, and it helps me kind of get in like the zone. But I'm supposed to be picking up items, and one just fell through the floor.
Wee!
Like it's underneath me. It's underneath. Oh wait, now it's gone. But yeah, the audacity of it all.
Ha. Ha. Okay, now I'm turning you up because you sound super quiet. All right, here, I'm just going to turn you up to 0. Because earlier on, you were peaking like crazy.
I guess you can say it was my peak performance.
I hate you.
Clearly not that much.
I am running a podcast with you after all. Anyway, speaking of said podcast, this is It Varies.
Where everything varies at different times.
For the most part. So yeah. I know that the two of us probably have a lot to say about Samurai Jack after this past weekend.
Yes.
Me especially, coming from like the perspective of like, oh hey,
this is a thing.
This is a thing,
Yeah.
And also I am a wannabe writer, so like.
So let's go with introductions first, because our lovely people need to know who we are. I am Filipe, the human representation of Dane Cook Costa. And I am here with.
And I am Liam, the just kind of worn out person at this point. Finals happened, but finals are over now, which is wonderful.
Well, yeah, for you maybe.
This is true. You're probably still got a lot of them going on right now, but
I have one tomorrow and one Wednesday, but then I'm done.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Thankfully.
Yeah, no, my finals were this past week, so
it's gross.
So yeah.
But I doubt our viewers, well, they're not viewers, they're listeners. God, Filipe. I doubt our listeners are here to listen to us complain about this stuff. So let's get into music.
Yeah, this is true. Can I start off this time? I had a bunch of preset lists, and I'm not also only doing, hey, look, I have 2 tracks.
Do it. I dare you.
So, Monster Cat's been busy since the last take on the podcast. There have been a lot of really good tracks that they've been putting out.
Really?
I'll start with the first one, which is a track from someone called Zero Hero, which I'm assuming is new to the label, because I don't think I've noticed them putting out any tracks on Monster Cat before.
Okay.
But they have a track called Bass Drop, and it's, I don't know how to describe it, but it's kind of like sort of pulsing like electronic, kind of sort of electro.
Now the question is, does it have a bass drop?
Yes, but not like the one you would sort of expect from like a really bad dubstep song.
Oh, so not the conventional.
It's closer to house than anything else.
Okay.
But yeah, another thing is like I'm gonna be linking the YouTube thing like I usually do. But the fun thing is like the entire thing is like this really cool little like animation about what's like their planes flying over and everything. It's like I don't know. It's a really neat little animated thing.
Okay. Sounds pretty good. I was actually finally listening to some electronic music the other day. I was actually listening to what was the Dead Mouse album after 4 times 4 equals 12?
Well, one is less than 2. Or well,
is that the one with Meowingtons on the cover?
No, that album title goes here.
There we go. Yeah, I was listening to that because I was listening to The Veldt, because The Veldt is just a really nice song.
It is, in fact, a really good song.
And I appreciate that it's based off like a short story that I really like too.
Yeah. I find it amusing that we're talking about this because I went back and I was listening to Hello Internet the other day, and apparently like this was a thing that one of I forget if it was Brady or Gray, but one of them found the Veldt, and we're just like, whoa!
Great minds think alike.
Song based off of Ray Bradbury. Sure, I think it's Ray Bradbury, right?
I'm not 100% sure. I only know
But
the
yeah,
main
they were like,
story.
"Yo, it's a song based off of this thing," and then they went and read it and were like, "Hey, look at this," and I'm just like, "We're talking about the same
This
thing in our podcast."
this story is terribly, horribly disturbing, but
It's yeah,
yet
it's
entertaining.
yeah, it's absolutely pretty disturbing. But yeah, speaking of kind of bad dubstep, um,
Diplo. I'm sorry.
how dare you call Diplo dubstep? Um,
Oh, that hurts more than what I said. Jesus, Liam, you're not pulling
um,
punches today.
I have very little respect for Diplo at the moment. The only reason he's managed to survive as long as he has is because A, he's friends with Skrillex, and B is because he's been stealing. No, I wouldn't even say stealing. He's been piggybacking off of other people's talent for a while there. There we go. But in the meantime, the past 2 weeks have been nice because we've gotten two future bass tracks, which I'm really happy about because I'm really starting to get into future bass. I don't know why. It's just a genre that I like. The fact that it's nicknamed Happy Trap is probably has something to do with that because like I like a lot of the like trap music that comes out these days because it's like, hey, let's take like hip hop and like dubstep and smash them together and you get what is trap music basically, and it's really cool most of the time. But
So you're telling me it's called Future Bass, right?
it's called future bass, but it's also nicknamed Happy Trap apparently.
I think it's a really clever name, to be honest. And I was gonna go into a joke about just time and bass playing, but like it can also be thought of like very as well because like it's future based. It's using electronic instruments to play bass tracks, and then you think of contemporary bass playing. It's just a bass guitar, 4 string, 5 string, or if you're insane, 6 string or even 8 string. Then which are things, and then you can go back to classical bass playing where you have the upright bass, and that's like all
Yeah,
the way through like jazz music.
I
And
mean
I just turned a snarky little comment I was going to make into an actual statement of
actual
worth value. So there
actual
you go.
actual commentary. Yeah. I don't. The thing is like the term future bass started out as a thing of like, hey, look, here's this very like nebulous emerging genre, and like it was kind of bass music, but it didn't fit in any other pre-existing genre, so they just called it okay. All of this stuff is future bass, and that was I want to say a couple years ago, and then since then it's kind of become its own genre.
That's pretty
But yeah,
cool.
but Myrn. I don't know how to pronounce this artist name ever since I like saw it. It is spelled Myrne.
Myrne.
Yeah,
Mar
Myrn.
Myrne?
I don't know, but they put out a track called After Dark, which is a really kind of chill vocal future bass track. It's really nice and relaxing, and then I love it whenever Mr. Fiji Ouija puts out a track
Wait,
because
stop right there. His name is Mr. Fiji Ouija.
there is an artist on Monster Cat that goes by Mr. Fiji Ouija. Yes,
Oh my god, that's amazing. I love him
I
already.
know that's part of the reason why I like him. But the other reason why I like him is he's a fantastic electronic music producer. Like he does
That's
all sorts
good.
of stuff, and it's really good. Like it's really good.
He's got the
Um,
comedic value going for him as well.
yeah,
Mr.
I
Fiji
mean,
Ouija.
yeah, I mean he
I love
refers
it.
to himself I think as the Feege, pretty
That's
often.
even
But I might
better.
be wrong about that. It's been a while since I've seen like any of his like little personalized posts or whatever. But he came out doing a track with this other electronic artist called Exist Strategy. You know, like exit strategy, but there's an S before the T, so
So
exist.
it's a strategy that exists.
More or less, something like that. I'm assuming that's what they're going for. But put out a track called Andromeda, with vocals by Matt Van, which is actually pretty good.
I was gonna
Um,
say it's probably better than Mass Effect Andromeda, but then again, you don't have to try too hard to be better than that mess of a game.
I've heard that game is kind of a mess, and I'm kind of sad about that because I do like the Mass Effect series a lot.
BioWare's had a pretty bad track record as
From what
of
I can
late.
tell, BioWare and Bethesda are both sitting there trying to rip off of each other's games, and the result is just total messes of games as a result.
Well, that's what you get when and I do like Bethesda personally, but that's what you get when you get two companies that have their own flaws, and instead of fixing the flaws, they kind of cherry pick other things.
It's
You
not
know?
even cherry picking, but this is a discussion for after the music stuff.
Yeah.
Because I've got three more tracks to go through. Um,
There's
Tokyo
three.
Machine. Sorry, I
Oh
think I cut you off there. What?
no, I was gonna say that was just three more tracks than you should be talking about. Getting real snarky over here.
Wow. Wow,
I'm
that
kidding.
hurt. Wow. I'm kidding.
It's okay, Liam. All
But
you need
yeah,
is a
Tokyo
band-aid.
Machine put out a track, and Tokyo Machine's kind of growing on me. For a while, I kind of took Tokyo Machine as like, hey, just like takes other forms of music that shouldn't have the crazy atonal bass synths that are present in things like dubstep or electro house or drum and bass occasionally, and just like using them in other places. But like, I don't know. He's gotten a bit more creative as time goes on with like how that works. And Tokyo Machine came out with a track called "Crazy" the other day, and it is I don't know, it's mildly enjoyable. I think it's worth mentioning at the very least. It's kind of like prog house with a little bit of like electro thrown in terms of like how the synth structure works.
Okay.
I am going to casually mention that Skrillex put out a track. I am not going to
Casually.
mention that I think it's not one of his best works.
Well,
And
not everyone's gonna have a hit, like
I mean, yeah, he put
I
out a
love the Foo Fighters, but there's plenty of songs that I look at them and I listen to them and I'm like, that could have been better.
this is true.
You know?
But it's Skrillex put out a one off on the Ausla record the other day, with another artist called Habstract. The track is called Chicken Soup. It's
Yum.
it's I don't really have too much to complain about it, so much as I just think like for a Skrillex track, like he really could have done better. And then the thing I want to mention in particular is a thing that literally came out less than an hour ago. I think it's less than an hour ago. It might be a little more ever since I've had to like do all the fiddling to make the recording work. But a thing that came out like within a couple of hours ago is a three-way collaboration track between the artists Rogue, Stonebank, and Slips and Slurs. It is a track called Unity,
It's a lot of
and
different names,
yeah,
and
no,
it's a
it's
lot of very clever names. I like it.
yeah, but it's a track called Unity, and
It's like music.
it's like the best kind of like the best worlds of all of the various like sort of atonal bass music that like I was into back when I was in high school, where
Okay.
like it was all just like really cool sounding synths organized in a very like specific way to give you this really cool sounding like bass heavy sound, and that's what this is. And I was just like, this track makes me feel kind of nostalgic for that sense, but also it's just like it's a really badass track, so I like it.
Well, that sounds good. I
But yeah,
guess. I
anyway, those are
guess.
my tracks that I wanted to discuss. So
Me, it's less tracks and more just stuff in general. Like, I'm very excited for the new Linkin Park album. I mean, only listened to two of the singles so far, which I will
yeah,
admit.
we're probably
Um,
going to discuss that at length next episode, because next episode is probably going to happen after that album's come out.
yeah, but yeah, the two tracks I know of more are "Good Goodbye" and "Heavy," which is my personal favorite of the two because it's just a really really good song. It's also very different in comparison to what they've done before. It's very much reminiscent of A Thousand Suns and what they were trying to do there,
Yeah, there was a
with just
point
a little bit
where
more.
I'm sorry, I totally cut you off.
Oh yeah, just a little bit more, and then uh, yeah, like I like where they're going with it. People will complain that it's not a hybrid theory or anything, stuff like that, but um, the artists are allowed to change their music if they want to. I mean, it's Linkin Park. You're not Linkin Park. I'm not Linkin Park. Linkin Park isn't some Linkin Park fan down the street from me. Linkin Park isn't my third cousin twice removed. Linkin Park is the band members that are together.
Yeah, and it's like, think about it this way: how bored would you be if you go on tour and you have to play the same? I'll be generous and I'll say 12. Same 12 tracks over and over and over and over again. How bored would you be? At that
Very.
point, you're like, hey, I want a more. Yeah, exactly. At that point, like, your second album is going to be like, okay, we're probably going to do, like, more of the similar music because, hey, that's what'll pay the bills. But at a certain point, you're just going to be like, okay, now we want to do something different because at this point, we want something to, like, be able to throw into our set lists at our tours that we can play to, like, shake things up, that we'll still enjoy playing. Because, like, Yeah,
And
that's
they referenced it themselves because they were doing rehearsal for a tour or a live performance at some point, and uh, Chester said like started doing a hybrid theory cover, quote unquote, of Heavy, and it sounded pretty good. It's Chester singing like Chester used to sing, and all that other good stuff. And he's like, and then he looks at the camera and says with like the biggest smirk on my face, "All right, there's the hybrid theory cover. Now y'all can shut the fuck up."
yeah. I don't
It's
know, man.
great.
Like I've interacted with I feel like it's kind of like the universe is just like, oh hey, here's some material you can talk about when you're doing your dumb podcast with like your friend, and you start talking about music stuff later. Is like I've interacted with like 3 or 4 Linkin Park fans over the course of the past week, and so many of the times I'm just like, man, they got so many good like albums out there, and I'd like mention like, oh, like, hey, this is a thing, and Minutes to Midnight was pretty good, and I liked A Thousand Suns and whatever, and they're just like, Hybrid Theory? Meteora, though? And I'm like, can you please be original? Can you please like something that's not just their first 2 albums?
See,
Can you not be those people?
I've had the opposite. Ooh, I can't speak today. I've had the opposite experience with some friends where I remember I was talking and we were just discussing how like as different as A Thousand Suns was and still is today. It's such a great album. Like you have just to list the actual well-known songs. You have like When They Come For Me. You have Wretches and Kings. You have The Catalyst, and you have of course which which is the one, which is the other two. It's the one of the two slow songs they have on the album.
Which one?
A Thousand Suns.
There's Robot Boy, and there's Burning in the Skies, and there's a lot of slow songs on A Thousand Suns
The
actually.
first single that they ever
First
released.
was that Waiting for the End?
There we go. Yeah, Waiting for the End. I love that song. It's so great, and it's it's definitely similar to what they did with whatchamacallit, uh Minutes to Midnight, but it's still different, you know?
It's very different for a lot of different reasons. Blackout too. Like you can't like
Blackout is probably the epitome of the difference that they've made because it's like you have Mike and Chester switching roles in that song.
yeah, you have
Mike's
Chester.
Mike's singing, Chester's sort of rapping. It sounds pretty good. I like the way it
Yeah,
is. It's he's not trying to portray a certain style or anything.
yeah.
He's
No, it's
he's
what
just
what he's doing. He sounds great doing it. It's a wonderful track. It's probably one of my favorite. It's probably my single favorite track off of that entire album.
it's very good. It's great.
But yeah,
Um, but yeah, like I'm excited to hear the new album, especially with what they're doing with their tour. I don't like Machine Gun Kelly personally. I don't think he's
I'm
that
I'm
great.
still just surprised he's relevant.
But apparently today, a couple hours before we started recording, they announced that Snoop Dogg is going to be on all their West Coast shows.
That doesn't surprise me. Haven't they toured with him before?
They've had Jay-Z show up to a couple of their shows because of a Collision Course. But
That doesn't
so,
surprise me. Yeah.
and that was specifically because they actually made from scratch an album of mashups.
Yeah,
And
no,
of
they
course
did
there's
that, and Mike and Jay Z are now like producer friends, basically.
and of course there's Blinkin Park happening right now. Well, not right now, but next month, which should be
Blinkin Park.
that's what they're calling it, Blinkin
That's
Park.
actually what they're calling it.
Yeah. So
Oh boy.
for those who by the time this podcast is aired, you probably already heard of it because it's already been announced. But Linkin Park and Blink-182 have got together and decided to play two shows together, two big arena shows. One's in Hershey, Pennsylvania, on June 30th, I believe. The other one's in Citi Field in New York City. Machine Gun Kelly will still be with both of them because it will be part of the Linkin Park tour. But for the Citi Field show, it's going to have Wu-Tang Clan. Wu-Tang Clan.
That's impressive.
So that's a pretty cool thing. And I've heard some people say like, why Wu-Tang Clan with them, and I'm like, I get it because Mike and Johan have that like affinity and roots in hip hop and rap because
They
they just
do.
and
That's kind of
Travis Barker
yeah.
too. Like Travis Barker had an entire album that was just rappers on it. Well,
Oh
he
yeah, no, I
drummed.
will totally link to Give the Drummer Some in the show notes. Like
Travis Barker is just a fantastic drummer.
he's such a good drummer. Like if you don't program your drums, if like the drums in a hip hop song are like not programmed, odds are, if they are any good, it was probably Travis Barker that did the drumming for him.
Not to mention, most drums that are programmed in some way have what am I looking for? It's either it's from a James Brown track that a lot of the drum samples people use come from, because there was a
Clyde Stubblefield.
there we go, one of the
Clyde
best
Stubblefield is probably the single most sampled drummer in the history of hip hop
for
and
good
rap.
reason. It's like the bassist of Motown, James Jamerson, considered to be the best modern bassist of all time, and like people like Flea, Geddy Lee, any bassist you speak to, they will defer to him in some sort of way. So
Yeah.
with rap, it's either Travis Barker's probably on it because he's involved with a lot of rappers that are involved with
Yeah.
other rappers,
Or
and
if they
stuff like that.
can afford to, they will sample Clyde Stubblefield.
Like, don't be will.i.am. Don't steal people's music. Like, will.i.am, like Black Eyed Peas when they first started out were great. I'm not the biggest fan of their music now, but they were great, and they had great production. He made the theme song for Samurai Jack. Like, will.i.am knows what he's doing.
Do we want to use that as a transition to talk about what we're probably both dying to talk about at this point?
That's actually why I brought it up, because I was trying to think.
I knew it! I knew that was why you brought it up.
How do I wrap this up in a nice and concise way, but also segue into our next part of the conversation?
Oh, boy.
But yeah, Liam and I have been watching Samurai Jack. Liam is finally caught up on season 5.
I've caught up on the entire series.
Oh wow, it's surprising because I'm not caught up on the entire series at all.
Have you? Oh, you haven't caught up on season 4 yet?
Yeah, I need to finish season 3 and catch up on season 4. But
yeah, I don't know.
I am caught up on season 5.
Yeah. So,
Jack finally has the sword, which I'm really happy about.
Yeah. And then there was what happened on Saturday,
which was let's start with him getting back the sword, because that's the last time we talked.
This is true.
So basically what happened, there was the one point where Ashi, the assassin that was sent to kill him, finally kind of like, all right, well, tell me, why I should believe you and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And Jack's like, well, explains to her, the example uses the tree that Aku left alive.
There are like other things alongside that take place, where like Ashi kind of realizes this whole thing where like she's been told, he does nothing but destroy or whatever, and then like here's Jack just like
being the goodest human being ever.
Yeah, the most pure human being he could probably ever be, and she's just like, okay, something doesn't add up here.
And by pure, not even just like that he's perfect, like pure as in like he's like
the scene involved person, like, is like him appreciating what is it, a ladybug?
Yes,
something like that.
And then later on, when he's being attacked by the mind-controlled children, the person torturing Ashi and controlling the kids is mocking him, like, even after all these years and everything he's gone through, he still won't hurt these kids. And then goes on this thing about saying how kids are so easily manipulated with mind control because they're so naive, and that Ashi, puts 2 and 2 together, that's what happened to her because she was raised as a kid to believe that Samurai Jack was
whole evil. Episode was just dark. Rough.
And then the next episode after that kind of didn't really give us a chance to take a breather, because it's
this is true.
Jack, you see this recurring character that's been here the entire time? Well, he's a samurai spirit telling you to kill yourself.
Yeah, no, it was dark.
According to the Bushido Code.
Oh, man,
and of course, big trigger warning, because it is an episode that does deal with seppuku, which is the Bushido Code, where if you lose your, I believe it's Bushido Code. If I am wrong, someone correct me in the comments.
No, you're not wrong. It's right? I think it's the Bushido Code, where if you manage to dishonor yourself, basically, yeah, it's not pretty, and the intention is for it to not be pretty. And Jack gets within like 2 inches of it going through with it.
almost physically 2 inches too, because he already had the blade in his hand.
I mean, that's what I was going for. Like yeah.
But yeah, and then the next episode is when they finally go get the sword, and Jack has to kind of I'm glad they bring back that anger thing that they've done with him before, because that was you remember that episode where Aku creates this clone of Jack that's just
Mad
always anger and
Jack.
everything. There we go. That
Yeah,
episode.
no, I saw a theory on the internet the other day that inner evil angry Jack from season 5 and Mad Jack from the first season are the same being.
He didn't really kill him and
He just
remove
like
him and
absorbed him, kind of.
him to like, you are me, I banish you or something like that. But it doesn't necessarily it Jack was in enough of a fragile state after losing the sword and everything, especially finally showing what happened when he lost the sword, that he actually, like, Aku turned these innocent creatures into monsters, and Jack killed them because they were monsters and they were attacking them, and they reverted back to their normal little sheep form, and I almost cried.
Yeah, no, there was that point where like Jack was utterly like Aku does that thing where he's like, I'll mutate these things into monsters, and Jack at this point is like has lost his mind because he's just like, there is no way back to the past. I have completely failed, and just
Well,
like everything about like he just like hate for Aku, and so he just like mindlessly just runs over and kills these things, and then they turn back to the little sheep that he made friends with on the hike up there, and there's this
they
moment where just
followed
like
him.
yeah,
They followed
and
him like baby ducks following a mother duck.
oh man, and it's just like
But he finally gets over that Mad Jack inside him by making tea. And then the guy just tells him, "This tea is terrible. It has all the ingredients, but not balanced." And Jack's like, "Oh, okay." But then Horus, Odin, and Vishnu show up and like, "Yeah, you can get the sword
yeah,
back."
no,
Give
there's this
him.
like scene where angry Jack shows up just like ah, and is just like trying to yell at the guy,
And
and
Jack's like, "Stop it. Get some help."
Jack is like, no, I'm done with you, and then goes away.
And he gets his gi back. He gets his a nice shave and a nice haircut. It's like, it's cool that he got his sword back, but I'm now thinking that his gi like mystical in some way. The sandals not so much, because they had the entire episode of the sandals were destroyed, but
Yeah,
I'm convinced that the gi is also in some way mystical,
I mean,
because
I don't know.
it keeps coming
Given
back.
this
It
is
just
true,
keeps coming back.
that wouldn't
And like
surprise me at all.
and considering it was given to him afterwards too by the three deities, it makes sense too.
Also
But
true. But
going
yeah,
into the time portal thing with Aku saying that he did destroy them all, and this probably should be the last point in the Samurai Jack stuff, because we've been going on this for a while, but he said that he destroyed them all.
you're
Yet,
about to bring up the plot thread that the showrunners are trying to address in the next episode, I think.
and someone I was reading the article someone brought up, but there was the episode where he fights the gatekeeper,
Yeah.
where is who knows all these different fighting styles and actually beats Jack very easily. Not very easily,
Okay,
but
I was
beats him
gonna
within
say,
an inch of his life.
yeah, beating Jack makes it sound easy. Jack gets his ass kicked hard,
Yeah.
very hard.
And don't get me wrong, he holds his own for a while.
Yeah, but the gatekeeper absolutely wipes the floor with Jack. Like, Jack is unconscious by the end of the fight, and the gatekeeper is ready to like actually kill him, and then doesn't.
Because he realizes he is the one. But it's not his time yet. And then you get an image of Jack in the portal with like a beard and a crown, like some other stuff.
And like this cape.
And it brings up an interesting point, because the gates that we've seen Aku have are either the black and white time portals from the beginning, or this one stylized gate in like the third episode that never shows up again. Every
Uh,
other gate is some sort of like black
oh,
and
is that
white
the
portal.
no fly jump good episode?
Yes, that one. That one. Because that's the only different portal that Aku actually has. And Aku's like, "Oh, I destroyed all the portals." But the gatekeeper's portal is significantly different in design. Maybe that was a deliberate choice.
I have a feeling it is. The thing is, having gone through and caught up on the entire show, the thing I have learned is that pretty much everything in this show is meant to be significant in one way, shape, or form if it's shown on screen. They do not waste screen time pretty much at all. Almost everything is meant to have a purpose, and things that don't have a purpose are usually just like things that are parts of fight scenes that are just like, hey, look, they are fighting now. In which case, I guess that does mean that it has a purpose. But like, there's no wasted screen time in this show, even back when it was like a Saturday morning kids cartoon.
Well, I believe it was like Friday night, but even then, still a kids cartoon.
Yeah, same idea.
To add to that point too is the fact that the Guardian beat Samurai Jack basically within an inch of his life. Aku, the only way he's beaten Samurai Jack is through trickery, deceit, or basically just cheating. Because we saw the very first episode on a one-on-one fight, Aku got his ass kicked. The only reason why he didn't die was because he sent Jack back in time. And it's happened time and time again. So if the Guardian's able to kick Jack's ass, I think he might have the means to stop Aku from getting to that specific time portal.
I mean, the Guardian...
Because you look around them...
Yeah.
No, you were saying?
The Guardian does mention at some point, like, oh yeah, no, many people have come here and tried to use his portals, you know, kings, demons, deities, gods, would-be gods, whatever, and none of them have beaten me. Like, that's a thing he actively says. So I thought at a certain point, especially having seen the really and also kind of worryingly vague trailer for the next episode that's coming up the week after this has been recorded, he's probably beaten Aku more than once. Or Aku might not even have tried to get to this portal because either he doesn't know about it, or B, like, he knows that if he tries to use it, he will probably not survive the encounter with the Guardian.
Not to mention, because of the fact that Jack has kind of been like out of the picture for a while, he's gotten very complacent, and it's shown in the show he's just kind of like not really bothered with stuff. So it makes sense in that way too. So it's just worth seeing what's going to happen with all that kind of stuff. And just it's just interesting, it's weird, it's good to see them actually bring that back and reference it in one way, because I was honestly expecting that to just be a dangling plot thread.
Yeah. I thought they were going to bring it up at some point, but
it could have easily just been like kind of there. And the fact that, you know, the machines are all around there kind of probably shows that Aku's probably sent people there. Not to mention, and I think Ashi not being in the trailer might be just because Jack had like the whole thing like, oh, you know, it's the person that needs to be worthy is the one that needs to go there, and he probably didn't want her to, you know, be involved in some way, or like, you know, upset the Guardian by like, you know, oh, you brought this person here, they're not supposed to be here, you're the chosen ones, stuff like that.
Yeah, I have a feeling I know what Ashi's role is going to play in the next couple episodes.
I hope it's better than the role she played in the last one.
I have a lot of mixed feelings about the last one, and
I understand
think the last... I'm sorry.
No, it's alright. The music definitely played a part in it. Because I doubt they chose the song just to play it. Like, what was the song saying? Like, everyone needs someone to love or something like that?
Yeah, here's the thing. I went back and I rewatched the episode before recording this, and made a realization. The entire thing plays out like romantic comedy fanfiction, almost. And I don't think that's unintentional. I think that's very deliberate, and here's why. And a lot of this realization happened immediately after the point where... There was a point where we both watched the episode the other night, and there was a point where we were like, hey, that felt kind of like forced or whatever. And you went, hey, I wonder how many episodes are left. And I was like, oh yeah, no, judging by the other seasons, there would be 5, because this is number 8, and every other season has 13 episodes. And then you went, no, there are 2. And I went, oh, okay. At which point I did a little bit of digging, and it turns out that, yeah, pretty much what I said at that point about the writers kind of taking what they could get happened. They were handed 10 episodes, and the team basically said, okay, we're going to make do with 10 episodes, despite the fact that if we wanted to, we could probably push for more and or a second season, which I kind of, at this point, had hoped that they would do, for a bunch of different reasons. But they didn't. And so what is happening here is that what we are seeing the end plan that the writer has had in play for how they wanted Samurai Jack to end. For like literal decades now, this plan has been like laid in place. And I'm looking back on the rest of the season, and everything is really compressed. Like really compressed in comparison to the rest of the show.
Also, fun fact in the numbering of the episodes, in the last episode of season 4 and the first episode of season 5, they skipped 40 numbers. So the first episode of season 5 is whatever the last episode of season 4 was plus 40 to indicate that it's been 50 years since Jack's been gone.
Yeah.
Been stuck in time.
But like,
I like it. It's
nice. No, it's a clever touch. But the thing is, I don't know, everything else they could kind of give this really cool like arc to and not have us realize that, hey, everything's really compressed. The problem was they sat there and realized, okay, the thing is, again, these writers do not waste screen time at all. If something is in there, it is going to play into the overarching story overall, which I think means the idea that Jack has a person in the future that he would rather stay with in order to make that like choice, like, hey, do I kill Aku in the present, or do I go back to the past and undo everything I know about the future?
Which timeline of Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time do I go with, basically?
More or less, basically. The romance subplot is probably going to play really heavily into that, because at this point in time, that's kind of the only way to get Jack to not make the choice to go back into the past.
Not to mention, there was the whole thing they were talking about, how in the next episode, Aku finds out something about Ashi that puts her in danger or something like that.
They're being very vague about the next episode, which partially worries me, but also, like, at the same time, I'm kind of like, they probably know what they're doing. But
his paranoia basically makes you think, no, they're going to kill Ashi off.
I don't think they're going to.
Other bullshit.
I really don't think they're going to, because if they do, then the entire reason for introducing her in the first place is null and void, and they don't do that.
That, and like, I doubt they would fall into the trope of, oh no, killing woman for man feelings type thing.
Yeah, they've already
been a thing on the show.
Even with the fanfiction nonsense that was the most recent episode, they still do a lot to, like, subvert a lot of the, like, stereotypical tropes that would normally be applied to a character like Ashi in that scenario in a bunch of different ways. So, like, it's one of those cases. But the entire reason why I think the last episode went the way they did is they sat there and they said, okay, we need to have this, like, romantic subplot thing wrapped up, and we have to have the last 2 episodes to wrap up any extra plot lines, and then have Jack face down Aku and make his choice of whether or not to stay in the future or go back to the past and abandon everything in the future that he knows at this point, in order to, like, save the past or whatever. And
also the Scotsman.
What?
The Scotsman still needs to show up.
That's true. The Scotsman's ghost does need to show up. But, like, the entire thing is, like, I could tell, like, after rewatching it, the entire last episode was basically the writers sitting there saying, okay, this is probably going to be awkward if we try and do this too subtly, because it will seem to come out of nowhere on the finale, and we can't have that, because then it's going to look like supremely, horribly, awfully, like, out of left field Deus Ex Machina, romance love plot nonsense, and we can't have that in the finale, because that'll completely ruin the impact of the finale. But at the same time, if we're more upfront about it, it might not play out according to the show. So what they did was they went for full-on romantic comedy nonsense. and just like ripped off the band-aid and said, okay, we're gonna make this as silly and as hilarious and as like rom-com as possible, and just damn the consequences, because we need to get this like in here and resolved, because we have including this episode, we have 3 episodes to get like everything set for the finale when the series ends. And
Yeah.
I think that's why it went from being like, hey, subtle build up to the relationship between Jack and Ashi, and then just suddenly was like, hey, look, have an anvil to the face.
Have an anvil to the face.
So like, yeah, what this is telling me is that I might sound dumb for saying this, but I kind of hope that like maybe 2 years down the road we get a full reboot of Samurai Jack. And the reason I want a full reboot of Samurai Jack is because I would like some platform somewhere to pick up the series and say, hey, redo this in one place with a set audience and a set amount of resources for a set amount of seasons, like they're doing with, like Netflix is doing with Voltron.
Actually have a consistent
exactly
timeline instead of having that huge space.
Yeah, so the idea would be like, hey, look, like the thing is, we know that Voltron, Legendary Defender, the reboot on Netflix right now, is set for at least 6 seasons. They have been told that they are guaranteed 6 seasons.
Good.
If some platform like, or maybe even if Netflix themselves picked up a Samurai Jack reboot and said, hey, you have 6 seasons to sort everything out, and you can do whatever, they can then pick whether or not they want to do the more kids cartoon style thing, with the sort of every episode has to be self-contained kind of thing that they did for the previous bits of the show, or now they can sit there and do a more prolonged arc, and then they can give more development to a bunch of things, because like you could probably take most of what was happened in the first like 4 seasons that's like actually plot relevant and probably compress those into maybe 2.5. And then you could take what's happened in season 5 and give a lot more development to a bunch of things and extend it maybe into like a season and a half, 2 seasons. Like the finding the sword thing. Like that would probably be more impactful as like a 2 or 3 episode arc. The whole like giving Ashi much more of a prolonged character arc would probably be more helpful, because like she's got a really developed one right now, but it happened over the course of like 5 episodes. If you gave her like a full season to develop, then setting up this whole like thing between her and Jack would make a lot more sense, because we know more of her as a character at that point. So I kind of hope that a couple years down the line we get a full Samurai Jack reboot.
I mean, maybe the point of putting them in that situation is also just to kind of create, to a degree, more impetus for them to give a damn about each other.
Oh, you mean in the last episode?
Yeah, because like, sure, that might be in it, but maybe they just kind of end up not being it, because like there were hints of that happening with in Rogue One with Jin and Cassian. There were like hints of it at points, but they never were very blatant with it, because obviously with Samurai Jack they were a little bit more blatant with that. But like, maybe it's their way of just being like, hey, these people give a damn about each other in one way or another, you know?
This is true, but then I don't think they would have been nearly as overt with
that's
literally everything in that episode. But
like, I kind of wish they kind of kept it as kind of like a, friendship, or like a teacher student type thing,
or something like that. I feel like if we got a full reboot where the entire show could be done in 5 seasons, but it's done in 5 seasons on one platform with consistent resources and the whole 9 yards, we would get, and instead of doing the usual thing that reboots do, where it's just like, they're rebooting a thing for cash, I would actually want to reboot this in order to make it a more consistent show, to make it more impactful, because like I like the old versions of this show. Like I like the stuff that I used to watch when I was a kid, and then I liked a lot of what was happening in season 5, but looking back at it, I sit there and I go, this could probably have done more with like a couple at the very least, like the 13 episodes. The 13 episodes would have meant that they wouldn't have had to force things like they did over the past couple episodes nearly as like harshly. But they probably could have benefited from another season.
But this, like, also looking into it, knowing what the show was capable of beforehand, and knowing that it is on a tight schedule, and I bet that to some degree it was the creator's choice to make it only 10 episodes.
Well, kind of. I did a little bit of digging, and from what I can tell, the creator was offered an opportunity to end the show, took the opportunity to end the show, but then promptly didn't argue when they said, okay, we're going to offer you 10 episodes, and was like, cool, done, I'll make 10 episodes work, because they were kind of like...
But at the same time, like, look at, it's Adult Swim they're working with, because yes, they'll have to still answer with Cartoon Network, but it's Adult Swim, you know? Like, Adult Swim is running Rick and Morty, and I like the show Rick and Morty, personally. Like, you see, like, the insanity that they've been pulling? Like, the April Fool's Day episode, they're not even sure if it's canon or not. It was literally just Rick going on a rant on how he wants to bring back Szechuan chicken dipping sauce from McDonald's.
I thought that was, like, the series-wide thing.
No, that was a thing for the April Fool's Day episode, which was technically the season premiere, but, like, the creator is being really, like, coy on whether or not it is the actual season premiere.
I mean, like, yeah, I get that, but at the same time, we have cases where, like, we're seeing this with Rebels right now. If Dave Filoni and Pablo Hidalgo wanted to keep running Rebels, they probably could for another 2 or 3 seasons, because it is far and away one of Disney's most successful TV shows. But they sat there and said, okay, what happened with Clone Wars we don't want to have happen again, so we're going to end it here and take what we're being given. They kind of sat there and said, okay, we're being given a season 4, we're going to end it within the season 4 in order to make sure that this, like, series has some closure and that we don't end up with what happened with Clone Wars. And I think that's exactly what happened here with Samurai Jack. Is it's not a case of the network was being unreasonable, it was a case of the writer was paranoid that somewhere down the line, the same thing that happened to their series earlier would happen to it again if they tried to, like, push too far.
Which is reasonable. But, like, again, I have pretty good confidence in Adult Swim.
I do,
that
too.
Kind of stuff.
So
I just... It's definitely a lot of stuff, and they probably all are working on other stuff as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, what time can we budget at this point?
I think this one particular episode is the only thing I have mixed feelings about so far in season 5. Everything else here has been done really well. It's this one episode that's kind of like...
Just one episode.
And I think the writers knew that. That's why they tried to make it as silly and over the top as possible. Is they're like, hey, we're basically ripping off a Band-Aid, and it's probably going to upset some people, and we kind of understand that, and we kind of regret that, but, like, from a writing perspective, if something is going to play into the finale in such a major way, as I'm 100% sure it's going to, then, like, they needed to wrap it up, and so they did.
But it was still a good episode, and, like, the enemy was interesting, to be honest. And the whole thing didn't know how to use the thing, and then
what was it? Someone, I made that idiot mistake of starting my research for, because I knew we were going to talk about this. I made the idiot mistake of starting my research by diving into the Samurai Jack Tumblr tag, because you mentioned, like, fans are kind of upset about this, and I was just like, let's gauge fan reaction, and it was the dumbest mistake I made.
The wrong place to gauge fan reaction is Tumblr.
Absolutely. Never doing that again. Ever. For future reference, if you're trying to gauge fan reaction, never, ever, ever, ever jump on Tumblr and jump in the tag for it, because it's just going to be people yelling about it no matter what happens, because it's just like...
Maybe use Twitter?
No, don't even... Just don't... Twitter's not much
just get
better.
Just stay away from everything.
But there were a couple... Amidst the just blatant, like, flame war that was going on, there were a bunch of really funny, like, amusing jokes being made, and one of them was just the GIF set of Jack tapping the thing. It was just like, Jack still doesn't know how to technology, and I was like, that's funny.
And you could think of it a different way. Him saying that he doesn't know how to use that thing. It's also a sex joke.
I walked into that one, didn't I?
No, but I'm not even, like, just to mess with you. Like, it legit that's the only other. If you wanted to put another meaning to that situation,
you're entirely right.
Like, that's That's just how it's like, Liam. Take it from me. That's
Oh
just how
boy.
it's like.
All right then. But yeah. So
I, I don't know why you're saying, "Oh boy." That's probably not something you're gonna have to
I,
ever have to deal with.
eh, you're not wrong. I think it'll be interesting to see how the series ends. I think it'll be interesting to see what the finale is. I'm going to put hypothetical non-existent money because I'm broke. Because I'm a college student. Technically, actually,
Not for long.
yeah, give me a week and that will be untrue. But I will put hypothetical theoretical money that the finale has Jack choosing to remain in the present.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Well, present.
He did the opposite of Link. He did the opposite of
Yeah,
Link,
more or less. Um,
or as I like to call him, Lonk. I've accidentally done that. I tried typing in Link
type
once
it.
and I typed in
I
Lonk.
know. I guarantee that's why that meme exists.
Someone at some point
Just mistyped the thing.
just
Yeah.
accidentally. It's like, oh no, I've created a meme.
Oh, I remember what I should mention next. I did mention that I have a funny bit of Shadowrun Dragonfall trivia for you.
Yeah, you refused to tell me yesterday.
Yes, because I intended to save it for this, because I want to save it for the podcast. I've told a total of one person for this, because everyone else I want to sit there and say, oh yeah, no, I have a fun bit of trivia, and you gotta go listen to It Varies in order to know what it is. So yeah, so...
I'm gonna hold this trivia ransom.
more or less. But yeah, Shadowrun Dragonfall, it's a game,
That it is.
computer game, strategy RPG of sorts, kind of like really, really easy XCOM, but with more stuff inspired by the tabletop RPG.
Did you just say really easy XCOM?
Yes,
What does that even mean?
it means XCOM, but not dumb and like absurdly easy.
That sentence makes me uncomfortable.
Why?
Because it's just easy XCOM.
Uh,
Like, that shouldn't exist.
it does exist. It's every other strategy game that's not XCOM that doesn't know how to make strategy games. I say that like that. The main draw for Shadowrun is that it's an RPG setting. So like the strategy bits are cool because like it's how you fight and everything. But like the strategy isn't hard. The reason the strategy is fun is because you can do things like sit there and say, hey, look, I run up and I whack this person with my katana, or I have this person kill that person with their with their full auto thing, or this person has razors that come out of their fingers because their arms are cyberware and therefore they can like slice people to ribbons that way or whatever. Look, I can summon a spirit in the middle of the room and have it attack people. That sort of thing.
Cyberware, like Vaporware, but for robots.
No, that's not. No,
It is now.
no, that's not what it is. They're cybernetic prosthetics.
I demand it. I demand it to be so. And my voice says
But
it
yeah,
as well.
no, but Dragonfall is really good. It's our friend Mike basically recommended it to that. They said it was everything Shadowrun Returns was, but like 1,000 times better. And I would say that's accurate. Like if you played Shadowrun Returns and you enjoyed it, go play Dragonfall because Dragonfall's amazing. The director's cut is even better because they add a bunch of like character specific side missions.
I believe I have that game. I just haven't played it yet.
You should because it is very good.
Which is the story of most games that I own.
Yeah, as tends to do when like you have a Steam account. But yeah, so
even just with my Xbox.
Yeah. So it's really funny because there are 4 main characters for the most part that are on like your team, right? There's Glory, there's Iger, there's Glory, Iger.
That's a name.
Dietrich, who's the one this trivia is about, and there's Blitz. And then there's Paul Amsel, who's your fixer, and there's Dante, who's the dog.
Hold on, is Blitz German?
Everybody's German. The game takes place in Berlin.
Okay.
In future Berlin.
I was about that. No, I just wanted to know, was like Blitz specifically German in name Blitz?
That's his like Decker handle. Like his like online persona.
Okay.
Like, you know how
His
there's that
persona.
backspin idiot that like runs around thinking he can make music sometimes?
You mean that really cool person?
Yeah, that dumbass. Yeah, no, like it's like that guy, except with like hacking and stuff. But yeah, no. So the funny thing is, if you talk with Dietrich enough in game, you find out that he used to front for a punk band.
Oh no, it's amazing.
Yeah.
No, you told me this. You told me
No, I
this.
told you that he fronted for the punk band. Did I ever tell you what the punk band's name was? It's
No.
called Messerkampf, spelled in all caps: MESSERKAMPF exclamation mark.
What does that mean?
Knife fight.
The name of the band is a knife fight.
Yep.
Tell me, how many knives do they usually fight with?
I don't know. Um,
Enough.
enough. I mean, they apparently helped drive like a bunch of racist jerks out of Berlin at some point.
So, what a good punk band should do.
More or less. I mean, yeah. The reason he stopped fronting the band though was because the event that he refers to is called the Night of Rage, and the problem is he was just like, yeah, no, hey, look, I am like a shaman, and therefore I have an idol that like gives me my power, and in his case, the name of his idol is the Dragon Slayer, and
Slayer of Dragons.
yeah, the Dragon Slayer naturally like gifts him power, and so he was for the most part fine, but like everyone else didn't have magic powers, and so a lot of like his like roadies and the fans that came along got really beat up or even killed during the Night of Rage, and so his immediate reaction was, okay, I'm not fronting this band anymore. I am going to step down and
It's time to stop.
yeah, I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna become a Shadowrunner, because that way the only person that gets hurt is me.
And that's the perfect situation.
That's what
Which is a
happened.
very
That's
good thought by Weezer.
yeah, that's Dietrich's character in a nutshell.
So Dietrich is the SB of Rivers Cuomo in the music video for Perfect Situation, which is completely unrelated to the actual situation.
Sure? Question
But
mark?
if you've never seen the music video for Perfect Situation, it's basically the creation of Weezer, quote unquote. It was a band called Wheeze, fronted by this girl that was like a diva prima donna, but it's weird. Like I'm doing a very poor job of explaining it. Basically, she ends up like getting off stage and everything, and not doing well, and just kind of like crashing and burning
Ah,
because just her issues with just substance abuse and stuff like that. And he's trying to help, but like she just doesn't want help. And he's like, I'm not gonna try to be a white knight in this situation. I'm also not gonna waste my time trying to help if you don't want help. But then what ends up happening is he gets on stage and starts singing for the band, and everyone loves him. And then the shirts that really said Weeze, the original name of the band, they changed it to say Weezer, and they drew like an R with marker on it. And for that tour, they had that shirt on sale, which is really cool.
that is pretty cool. I'll link to the video in the show notes
It's a very good song.
so that people can go watch it and enjoy what the wonderfulness that is Weezer.
Yeah, I saw them, and they're pretty. And if you do go to concerts, they will be touring at some point, and I do recommend seeing them live. They're very very cool live. Rivers Cuomo is a very nice person.
They've got a new album coming out soon, right?
I don't think so.
Really?
Because they have the one song is like Summer, but like it's just the song.
I thought that the song was released as a single for what they were working on upcoming. I might be completely wrong about this, for the record.
As far as I know, the song was just released as a single and nothing else.
All right, that's fair. I mean, bands do that sometimes. All right. How about you've been playing Destiny a lot? Why don't you talk about Destiny a little bit since I've been rambling about?
Oh, I want to talk about Destiny. I'll tell you about fucking Destiny. These fucking two idiot randos that I'm playing with.
Oh boy.
Sorry. Lost the hat. The raid next week is the one I hate the most because it takes so fucking long.
Is
And
it,
it's so King's Fall.
oh,
the one
is
with-
that the one with Oryx?
Yeah, Oryx, little fucking piece of shit king thing. I don't like him. I don't. He glitches. Like you have to be very specific and very precise with his thing, or else it's like, no, you're gone. You're done. You lose.
I couldn't tell that you didn't like him.
What tipped you off, Liam? The fact that I insulted him to high hell?
Maybe that might have something to do with it. Maybe.
But yeah, but like this week was the first raid this game ever had, the Vault of Glass, where the enemy is like Atheon, and he's actually really cool looking. And the challenge isn't too hard, and it's the shortest one, but it's also one of the more fun ones. And then I think the week after it's going to be I believe it's Wrath of the Machine, the last one they added, which is the last challenge I have to do, which is a pain in the ass, but it's not a terrible raid to do. It'll just be, like I said before, a pain in the ass.
Oh man.
Sorry. Is my bitterness showing?
Just a little bit.
Just a wee bit, laddie. Says the not Irish person to the Irish person.
That sounded more Scottish than Irish, honestly.
I don't know my nationalities.
I don't know my varying flavors of Celtic.
I barely know myself, Liam. Do I need to go into an existential crisis on this podcast?
Probably would be helpful to avoid that.
Just turn the podcast into like a therapy session between the two of us. That would be awful. Not because I don't want to do that. It's because it'd be pretty boring for people to listen to.
Yeah. I have an idea. Speculation about Destiny 2.
The game won't be shit.
They'll
fix the servers.
Will or won't be?
Won't be. They'll fix the servers.
Oh, because Bungie knows what they're doing now. Or,
Bungie's always had problems with servers, even in Halo.
Well, to be fair, the reason they constantly have problems with servers is that they never manage to keep up with anticipated server traffic early on.
Oh, even better. Maybe this time around, they'll actually balance the multiplayer. Because when the multiplayer first came out, fucking shotguns were all the rage. And there was like one primary rifle that people used. And then Bungie's like, oh, we'll fix this. You know how they fixed it? They unbalanced it in another way.
Oh, dear.
And currently, sidearms are the new overpowered meta. So, like, if you don't have a sidearm, you're fucked.
I mean, to be fair, that might just be a Halo 1 reference.
No, Liam, like, it's actually, like, stupid. And also, the sidearms aren't that strong. They just have a higher fire rate, and they start with ammo.
Oh, damn. I was hoping it would be, like, a case of, like, the Halo 1 Magnum is overpowered.
No, that's what the hand cannon's for.
Fair enough.
That's why you get, like, stupid, awesome hand cannons in this game.
Yeah, hopefully, since they're not just tacking on PvP multiplayer this time at Activision's request, they'll get things right. For the most part, Bungie is...
They probably would have added PvP at anyways on this one, because that's just kind of Bungie's thing at this point, especially after Halo.
Yeah, but like, to be fair, Activision pushed Bungie to do a bunch of stuff early on that Bungie didn't really want to do immediately. So
that's true. Well, the thing I hope is that they don't do like the whole carving up of DLC bullshit.
Yeah.
Because they do already have 2 DLCs announced, but it seems like it's actually gonna be substance, because it's DLC based on one faction and then one enemy. Not one enemy, one faction in the game, and then one like character that you like run into a few times.
All right, my major Destiny 2 prediction is that Cade 6 is going to shoot Gary in the face, and he is going to look magnificent while doing it.
Our enemy's name is Gary!
Our enemy's name is Gary!
What starts with a G.
Something with a G. It's really funny because you've got Lance Reddick on one side doing the actual, like, I can be an inspiring leader person who actually sounds like
a leader.
And then you've got Nathan Fillion being
Nathan Fillion.
Exactly.
He's being like he's an even more out there version of Captain Mal.
If Captain Mal were like extra cocky, then yeah, that would be Cade 6.
And then Ikora Ray is if Zoe was like extra deadpan and serious.
Or probably just like more done with Cade's bullshit.
Yeah. Basically, that's their relationship. Remember, it's like there was one time like you're doing one of the missions, and it's like, all right, I gotta go take care of my Vanguard or whatever, because he leads all the hunter classes, and she just out of nowhere says they don't like you. And like, I'm like, what the fuck? It's like, you don't have to read him like that.
That's okay. Okay,
It's
sure.
like, jeez. You might as well just put a round in him with your shotgun.
Oh my god.
Because you're fully capable of doing that. It's like, they don't like you. And it's like, cool. Is this fucking Mean Girls right now?
Goddamn.
No, I'm falling. And I can't get up. No, I mean, I can get up. I did just get up, but like, yeah, you know what I mean.
But most importantly, we all know that Destiny 2 will have tons of loot.
Yeah!
That will be the most important part of the game.
Crickets.
Clearly.
Also, there will be tons of loot. I just love, like, you have to give credit to Bungie. The one thing they're pretty good at is writing funny characters and shit. Like, they can be stupid sometimes, but I give them that much credit. I believe in them in that respect. I believe them in writing the story this time around because they won't have, you know, bullshit CEOs breathing down their neck.
Yeah, Bungie's very good at character writing. I will probably have more to discuss on that by the time we next play the episode, because I will have installed and decided to play Marathon and Marathon 2 for the first time forever.
I still need to play that game. I've never finished playing that game. I got stuck like on the second mission of the first game.
Oh, really?
Because I don't know how to navigate the map.
Yeah, it's a little confusing, but you get used to it pretty quickly. The main reason why I want to replay them is because I 100% did not... did I tell you about how I first played through the first Marathon games? Like, way back when the two of us were in high school?
I remember vaguely you just kind of ran around and ditch and try to figure shit out.
Oh, no, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about, like, the physical control scheme I had for the Marathon games.
Oh, yeah, you use your mouse and keyboard. You use just the keyboard like an idiot.
Yeah, no, I had it so that WASD and the arrow keys were like two joysticks. One was move, and one was look.
How did you even manage that?
I have no idea. But I played through Marathon 1 and Marathon 2, and I got through the first 2 levels of Marathon Infinity before giving up on Infinity. Until one day, I think my cousin came to visit and was like, dude, why is your look not bound to your mouse axes?
Because you're stupid, Liam.
And I was just like, oh. So I want to play through the game again, using proper mouse and keyboard this time. And I will hope it works.
You know, it'll be funny if you end up playing through the game the stupid way again.
You know what? I would be willing to do that for other people's entertainment.
This is my playthrough of Marathon. It's the stupid playthrough.
Awesome games done stupidly.
Stupid, done stupid. It's not even clever. It's just stupid.
I mean, isn't that very meta of you? Yay, congratulations.
Congratulations, you've done something. I can't open this chest and I'm sad.
Oh boy. Alright, well, we've been... Okay.
No, I've recorded almost 2 hours?
Yeah, no, same here. So I think we can call it there. And then...
So, we'll call it an episode, everybody. Alright, so that was the second episode of It Varies. You have no idea the mess that it was recording, but you hear the wonderful finished product.
Oh,
and you won't hear that or edit it out because it was a lot of mess. But
editing power.
That's our specialty here at It Varies. We're like Jedi, but with messes.
I can yield the power of a digital audio workstation to make us sound intelligent.
So on that note, we will see everyone the next episode we put up. We hope you enjoyed.
I just did the like hand salute thing that Grant Thompson did, and then realized, oh wait, we're not recording video.
It's okay. It's spirit. Bye.
Fare thee well.